Hey gang, waiting for a few of you to catch on here and get on board. Hello friends, my name's Dan Nelson. I'm an artist. I do a lot of different kinds of art. Just last night I was doing some pen and ink illustrations for a book. Today I'm back to what I'm doing most of the time these days, which is oil painting and even cityscape oil painting. We all here? We are. Welcome. Good to have you here. Um, I have, well, become, I probably best known as well as a wedding painter and as a cityscape painter. And the reason I like cityscapes is because I really enjoy the interplay, the juxtaposition of architectural straight lines with organic shapes. Organic shapes are trees, which I'm doing at the moment right now. Trees, people, cars, clouds, all those are organic. The easiest way to describe my preference is I find myself quite bored with painting a mountain, a creek, a stream, a tree, a waterfall, a cliff. You understand the traditional landscape painting quite bores me. Not to put a really nice house or a shed or a castle or a barn in the middle of that landscape, and now I'm interested. And ironically, I find that is also in sync with my philosophy, my part of my worldview, and that is that I think human beings are a good thing. As far as I'm going to chase down that statement, let's just leave it right there. I am not against human beings, as some people evidently are. Well, some clearly, by their own confessions, are against human beings. So I like people, and I like the things they build. So I like painting architecture as well. So not just a plain nature scene. By the same token, I am not interested in painting a pure cityscape with no organic shapes in it. So here I am. I am nearly finished with this painting I started last Thursday. This is now Wednesday, so it's been going on for a while. And let me pause here for a minute and talk to you about my thoughts about this painting and about painting in general and about cityscapes in particular. Before I started this broadcast this morning, I took time to do something I've thought about doing for a long time, and today I finally did it. I have a handful of artists that I am particularly enamored with, a handful of artists whose work I really like, and I find myself returning on the internet, online, to look at their work over and over and over again. And a couple of them really specialize, at least among other things, as I do. They specialize in cityscapes. So here's what I did. I went online and I just did a Google image search for, I'll give these to you one at a time. One is Jeremy Mann, and this is just a screenshot that I put together in Photoshop where I can look at real quickly, bum, 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 a whole bunch of his cityscapes. I have 2 pages of Jeremy Mann. He's a young man, disgustingly young man, probably 42 or something like that. And I think he lives in San Francisco, pretty well-known, up-and-coming, famous young master. I'm not going to make you look at these. I just want you to get the general idea. You can do this yourself. Now, I decided to go. I bought one of the best things I've done in recent years is I bought a laminator of all things. I find myself loving it. So the reason I laminated these is after going to all this work, I thought, you know what? I want to hang on to these. I'm going to use these again and again. So Jeremy Mann is one. Next is Tibor Nagy, Tibornagy. He's Eastern European and does some fabulous cityscapes. Now, of course, at this size, I'm not seeing all the detail. It's not really detail that I want to see. I want to see his general treatment I have one page of T. Bernanke. Now here's another, changing gears slightly, um, is G. Harvey. Um, most of you know Thomas Kincaid. G. Harvey's maybe the pre-Thomas Kincaid. A lot more, you know, like horse and buggy and streetcars. G. Harvey, I believe, is still living. Um, he- um, but he paints a kind of a, you know, retro, sentimental kind of thing. But beautiful cityscapes and a good painter. A couple years ago, I was at Oil Painters of America in Dallas, Texas, and I walked into the gallery, Southwest Gallery there in Dallas, and they had a fairly small, like 24 by 18 or so painting by G. Harvey on the floor inside the front door on sale for $95,000. I don't know if that's depressing or encouraging. Anyway, he's highly sought after artist. Anyway, cityscapes. Next, Richard Schmid. Now, Richard Schmid doesn't do very many cityscapes. Here's one. I guess do I just have one page of Richard Schmid? I guess so, just one page. But he does a lot of architecture. So I printed off. Here's one that could almost. That's a village. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that could be stretched. Some of those, and the rest of these are just architecture. So I printed off Richard Schmid, and finally, in fact, one of you guys, one of my followers, turned me on in a comment a couple weeks ago to this man named Eugene Gallion Lelouet. Gallier Lelouet, I don't know, he's French, and I don't know how to pronounce French very well. He lived in, when? Born in, 100 years older than me, 1854 to 1941. Very famous French Paris cityscape painter. So I actually ordered this book. I was a little disappointed with the size of the reproductions and the resolution on the inside. Not that great. The cover has by far the best representation of his work. But anyway, so thank you to one of you that turned me on to him. So I have 2 pages of his. Okay, so that's enough. That was just there for me to show you. I'm going to file these away. I will use these hopefully for many years while I am teaching classes, whenever I teach Cityscape. So the point I want to make is do your homework. And for you young artists, perhaps, if any of you young people ever listen to me, do not follow your peers. Now, you can if you want to. I want you to hear my heart. I'm not being mean. I'm being, if you want to be good, you follow the best you could. So these people that I just showed you are some of the best painters in the world. Okay? They're people. That's who I want to influence me. Let me find a piece of paper here. This makes me think this is a good moment to share just another quick thought. Okay, hang on. I'll let you follow me around the room. I just want to find a piece of scrap paper, if you will. Good enough. Here we go. And since you're facing this way, I'll face this way just for a moment. I didn't plan to get into this, but here we go. This is a little lecture that I've given scores of times in my head and only a few times in real life. So I'm going to give this lecture in real life right now. And this is, again, directed at all of you who are artists, especially perhaps if any of you are young or emerging artists. Okay? I'm going to draw 2 circles, 2 different diagrams. Each of these circles represents all the artists in the world. Okay? All the artists in the world, 2 different diagrams. There are 2 different ways to divide this diagram. One way is like this. I'm going to explain this in just a minute. Like slices of a pie. The other way to divide this diagram is like this. like a target with a bullseye in the middle. Okay? What I'm going to say to you, if you want to be a good artist, now if you're just happy the way you are, you're a hobbyist, it's not important, you don't care if you're that good, I hope I'm talking to nobody right now, because everybody wants to be better. Then let me give you a mindset. Let me give you an attitude that you need to have if you want to be good. And that is very simply, do not, I repeat, here's the sad face or the angry face. Do not divide all the artists in the world this way. Let me explain what this diagram means. This is all the artists in the world, and this is, and I'll just start here because this is all the African American artists in the world. And this is all the, I'll make it a bigger this is all the women artists in the world. This is all the left-handed artists in the world, I'll make it represented by dots. This is all the left-handed Norwegian retired plumber artists in the world. I'm being silly, so I hope you get the point. This slice right here is all the red-haired Russian artists in the world. Are you with me? Now, why am I saying such stupid things? Well, the reason is because millions of artists actually divide the world this way. And they say, like I have a number of, I'll pick on the most obvious target, dear African American artist friends. And their goal is to be the best African American artist they can be. And I bless that. I want them to be, but I always wince. Inside I go, ouch, ouch. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Women, if I'm talking to women, now, see, you know, white, European, male, we don't get a section. White European male who's less than 6 feet tall, over 60 years old, who's also a musician. Maybe I can make a Nah, it's just not going to work. Okay, why not? Why? Why shouldn't you aim to be the best Icelandic artist? Because there aren't enough artists in Iceland. That's, if you, let me go back to my first category, because my heart really goes out to some of my dear and precious African American friends who are, they want to be African American artists. And of course, we have a whole history in America that makes this kind of thing happen. Or woman artists. So many, you know, like years and years and years ago, I walked into the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., the Aerospace Museum, airplanes, rockets, all kinds of stuff, right? Then in one little section of the airport, there's this part dedicated to women in aviation. Why? Why isn't the, well, because the whole thing is mostly men aviators, right? So the women aviators get this little special section. But if you divide the art world that way, you're cutting yourself off from being as good as you can be. You do not want to be the best left-handed, red-haired, soccer-playing artist in northern Poughkeepsie. Are you with me? You do not want to be the best artist in Chicago. I mean, that's a nice goal. I want to be the best artist in North Carolina, but that's not my goal. That's just on the way to becoming. Okay, so you do not, if you, and I'm again talking to young people, if you divide the world this way, you're cutting off your success, your progress. You're saying, because if you achieve your goal, doggone, I'm the best woman artist in North Raleigh. Are you with me? Now, that's okay on the way to something else, but no, okay. So what you want to do is, yes, you want to divide the world up this way. This is all the artists in the world. And what does this diagram mean? These are the best artists in the whole world, dead or alive. These are one notch down from that, almost as good, but just one ring out, and then you got the idea, one out from there, and out from there, and out from there. This is the way you want to divide the world of artists, because if you do this, you're short-circuiting. I started off talking about young people. Young people, because of the internet, you know, old farts like me, don't know how to do technology, so we don't do the internet. That's not true at all. But you know what I mean? That's the general young people. So young people have Tumblr and Reddit and Instagram, and young people have, which I should be better on Instagram than I am, but young people have uh, Deviant Art is a big one, right? Who's on Deviant Art? A whole bunch of artists under 30. And young people, if you're not careful, you're going to say, I'm going to be the best young artist. These are young artists here. And again, this is not this frowny face. This is not a good way to divide the art world. Instead, you want to divide the art world this way. And what is your goal? Your goal is bzingy right there. Your goal is not to be here or here or here or here or here. Now, again, you know what I mean by this. You aim for the moon and settle for you aim for the stars and settle for the moon if you have to. I say, you know, I want to be, by the time I'm 70, I want to be known as one of the best artists in America. I've got a long ways to go. Long ways to go. But I don't want to aim to be one of the best artists in North Raleigh. I think I already am. Are you with me? Because this is my goal. This is what drives me. So that's just a little detour as to why then when I print off a bunch of cityscapes of artists I admire, I picked the best artists in the world that I know of. Now there's thousands of artists that I don't know. No doubt some of them deserve to be on this list, but you can't do them all. So this is just a good list, man. Jeremy Mann, Tibor Nagy, G. Harvey, Richard Schmid, and Eugene Gallien Lalloué, Paris Cityscapes. Okay, so do you understand? Chase somebody good. Okay, chase me for a little while if you want to. Chase me for a little while, but man, you want to stop with me. You want to go way past me. Your goal is not to be as good as me. Your goal is to be way better than Dan Nelson. Are you with me? My goal is to be. My goal is to be so much better than I am right now. Was that good? Some of you needed to hear that. Okay, let's go back to painting now for a little while. There is my painting. And, you know, funny thing, I look at all these paintings of artists that I admire, and there's one word that describes all of them, maybe not Lalloué, Gallienne or Gallier Lalloué, the French. He died in 1941. Maybe, yeah, but certainly all these other guys, you know what, the one word, they are so much messier than I am. Now, that does not mean that I'm going to try to copy them. There is a way to learn how to paint by copying some master's painting, but that's not. I'm not going to copy these. I picked those up to influence me. I can't paint like those guys. I can't paint like Richard Schmid. But you know what? Richard Schmid can't paint like me either. He cannot. He is physically unable to paint the way I paint. Jeremy Mann, amazing superstar. I can't paint like him, but he can't paint like me either. So I'm not trying to copy him, but I am, and listen to this important word, I am trying to be influenced by those guys. And it's too late to change my. I like this painting. I think my client's going to like it. I get just a little bit of finishing up to do here. But as I move forward in my career, you know, the next painting I do, before I start it, I'm going to look at that stack of papers. I'm going to go, man, I'd like to paint a little bit more like this guy. That's ironic. None of those are women. Some of them should be women, but it's not my job to you know, it's just my job to copy who I want to copy. That's all I can do. I can't create women artists. I know some wonderful women painters, but I hope that's helpful to some of you out there. Let me zoom in just a little bit here. And there we go, we're doing all right. I realized that I want to pink up, if you will, lavender up this part of the sky down here. Instead of going green, which is what I did earlier, I want to go slightly lavender. And as I finish up this painting, I'm going to look for ways that I can, still being me, I'm going to look for ways that I can loosen up this painting. Now, I don't know about you, but um, this painting, it seems pretty loose to me. You know, I thought this painting was pretty loose until I looked at all those people that I admire, uh, more than me, if you will, if I can use that funny terminology. All these people that whose works I think are better than mine. I go, oh wait, you know what? I got a ways to go here. I can be looser than I thought, and that's a good thing to feel, good way to feel. So the kind of work I have to do here is so slight. Um, I've got a little bit of the building right here, just that one patch right there needs to be finished. But let me show you, just for fun, changing subject slightly. Let me bring you in here and show you a little trick that I learned just real recently in one of my recent paintings. Do you see this car down here? I had to have a car here. It's just to finish off the feel of the street. But I don't want a lot of attention drawn to this part of the painting. Let's see if it's dry. I did this last night. No, it's still a little bit tacky. So this is kind of a trick that I learned. This is a pretty carefully drawn car. Are you with me? Pretty careful, pretty accurate. But look it's all drawn in muted colors, that blend in real easy with the background. So when you look at the painting, your eye glances at that, you go, oh yeah, car, cool car, got it, cool car. But you don't dwell on it because it's real subdued because of the colors. It's not contrasty. Meanwhile, back over here, there's a car that's a lot more contrasty because it's much closer to the center of the painting. So that was just a cool little trick that I picked up on real recently that I'll share with you. So always on the quest to get better. I hope you are. I'm going to stop this broadcast here, I believe, and probably do another broadcast later in the day on a different painting. Hope to finish this one real soon, but I hope that was entertaining and inspiring and helpful to you. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, leave comments. I missed some chat I noticed over there, and tell your fellow artist friends to watch me if you don't mind. Thanks.